on my side. We've witnessed 21 deaths on this highway.
They're going to be laying out on the side of the freeway.
It would hurt the community as well as inmates that want to change in life.
They have a pretty good system right now. I'd kind of like to see it stay that way.
This is the story about the proposed closing of the Baker Community Correctional Facility. It's a 288-bed minimum security private prison in the Mojave Desert. It's a story about a prison that saves lives, protects local residents, and helps inmates who want to get an education and get off drugs. But unless the governor changes his mind and restores the funds for this program, it ceases to exist in the next few weeks. I-15 near Baker is one of the most dangerous freeways in the state. 140 motorists died and more than 2,000 people have been injured in the last 3 years along this desolate stretch of highway headed for Las Vegas. Folks here call it Blood Alley.
Seatbelts on.
San Bernardino County Fire Captain Warren Crandall believes that Baker inmates provide vital emergency services.
This station, Station 53, we cover 3,280 square miles of the East Mojave, Northeast Mojave, between Barstow and State Line, Nevada. We give fire protection to the freeway, the community of Baker.
Inmate Eddie Mariscal cuts accident victims out of burning cars with the jaws of life.
She was trapped between the dash and the seat, and in order for us to get her out, we had to cut the top. So what we did is with the cutters, we cut the top of the car, the whole top of it, and then we popped the doors with this, and then we used the ramp to push the dash out from underneath her legs because she was trapped that way.
Saving lives changed his life.
I've learned to respect life more, myself personally.
Take everything for granted before.
Me and Mike ourselves, we've witnessed 21 deaths on this highway. We've seen 21 deaths. I delivered a baby once on the freeway.
Yeah, he's got a baby on his.
Yeah.
Doggone it.
We had a patient. She was on a Greyhound bus, and she couldn't speak no English, so I speak Spanish. So I assisted in the birth, and that was my greatest moment here. That was on Thanksgiving, on the day of Thanksgiving, about 11:35 that evening, because the day before that we had just had an accident with 3 fatalities.
Yeah.
And I was feeling real down. I mean, my morale was down because one of the kids that got in the accident looked just like my son, and it really hit me hard. And then when that came along, they threw me in there, and I assisted to deliver this child on the side of the freeway.
Finally bring somebody into life.
And it was like, you always see death, but bringing life back into the world is something different, you know.
Fire Captain Warren Crandall says closing Baker's CCF will cost lives.
For the average person, that means that they're going to be laying out on the side of the freeway, or they're going to be sitting there with a burning vehicle for an additional 45 minutes waiting for the fire department to get there. We have what's called a golden hour. If you can get somebody advanced life support within an hour, get them to a treatment facility, or get them at least some kind of advanced life support, then they have a better chance of surviving.
Emergency services along Highway 15 will suffer if Baker closes.
The prison has been a godsend. It has provided the men, and we've been able to train the men, and the men work on our emergency services, basically our fire department. And our fire department responds to everything, both medical calls and actual fires. So if you're caught in your car, they're right there with the jaws of life and their big pneumatic balloons and stuff to lift your car up, and you've got a chance to live. So losing our inmate labor base will basically put an end to the outreaching emergency services that the county is able to provide now.
But there's more to the Baker CCF story than fighting fires and saving lives. Inmates say these educational and drug rehab programs gives them a second chance. If Baker closes, these inmates will go into overcrowded institutions like Chino or Tehachapi.
This place is, like I said, a healing place. Staff here, actually, they show that they care about the inmates. They don't look at us as inmates, they look at us as human beings. And if they would close this place and send us to Chino, I think that would be a wrong idea. Because as we call it, we call Chino gladiator zone. Because you could go in there with 6 months and end up with 2 years because of all the politics and everything that goes on in there.
Racial politics is something that goes on in every penitentiary system in the world. When you come in here, you have to come with your race, black, Mexican, or white. You eat together, you do everything together. Here at Baker's CCF, you get to interact with other races. At another penitentiary, you couldn't do that. But here, like I said, it's different. And it's not all about race and being caged up like an animal, you know, because you're not an animal. We're human people just like the rest of the people in the free world. We just made mistakes, you know. So here it gives you a chance to think back on your mistakes, you know. It gives you a second chance.
I prayed about it to come to a place like this. You know, I've never been to a rehabilitation, place. This is like my rehabilitation place, you know. What I really learned in this MRT class is that I learned how to put my past behind me, and my president here is at Baker at the moment, and my future is not to come back to prison.
It's politics and power versus accident victims and inmates.
If they close down this place and they send people that have never done time to a place, level 3, level 2, or higher maximum security places, what that does is it's not rehabilitating a person. It's just a place for housing. You know, you don't have the opportunity to train. You don't have the opportunity for work. They don't really even care if you work, and I know that because I've been there. You know, I'm speaking of experience here. Here, a person like us, we get the opportunity to be on this fire crew. I myself never thought that I would be able to ride on a fire engine or brush patrol or
lights blaring.
You know, lights blaring. And yeah, you know, but it's an experience, I said, that I'll never forget for the rest of my life.
Ken George runs a Baker towing business.
With the prison being here, we have people that we can depend on to fight these fires because they have plenty of help. And you don't have to go all over town getting somebody off the job looking for them to go out on a fire because they're already there in one place ready to go.
Before the prison was here, motorists often died before emergency help arrived.
Another case was where a truck had laid over and the driver was pinned. And you could literally walk on fire extinguishers. And then finally the driver asked the highway patrolman if he could borrow his pistol. And he said no, and one of the drivers there said, well, can I loan him mine? And he said no, it'll be over pretty soon, which it was, after the screams and the hollers. It finally got up there to him and it was gone. But those days are past. We have a pretty good system now. We have a quick response system. And using the prisoners, we don't have to wait for anybody to show up. They're there. It's sure going to hurt us if they take these prisoners away from us. That's all there is to it. I think it's going to have a cost factor against the state or the county to keep the service as good as it is today if they take this prison out of here. At least that's my feelings.
Baker's CCF ceases to exist June 30th, 2002.